If you are still transacting in cash above a certain limit and relating to certain type of transactions, then you are bound to face penalties which can be up to 100% of that transaction value. So if you have a 1 lakh rupee of cash transaction, you may face a penalty of equivalent amount, that is 1 lakh rupees. So be careful and understand what has been put forth in the Income Tax Act as well as the advisory brochure which the government has launched on in the month of January 2025. The Digital India campaigning and awareness created by the government side, yes, people definitely have shifted to a large extent in terms of digital payments, but yet there are a number of transactions still which are happening in cash, and the cash amount that is being spent is in huge values. That is, it could be more than the specified limits. So let us understand the cash transaction limits in general, what can be useful to you in your day-to-day transactions. So the first thing that we need to understand is that there is a section 40A in the Income Tax Act, which was introduced in way back, that is 2009, and there are several amendments made later on to this section. A section which was introduced was relating to a payment on a single day. That means if you want to make a payment on a single day exceeding 10,000 to a single person, that should not be done in cash. So there is a limit, there is a cap kept on the payment. So if I have to pay for a stationery bill, let's say, and that amount is 20,000 rupees, the invoiced price, the amount that I need to pay is 20,000 rupees. So what has to be understood is that against that particular invoice, I cannot make the entire payment of 20,000 rupees on the same day. So if I say I'm spending on stationery 20,000 rupees on a single day in cash, not allowed. If you want to pay on the same day, then make the payment by check, by NEFT, by any UPI mode, whatever. So it should be a bank-to-bank transaction, not cash transaction. So that is what is the limit which was mentioned. Then if let's suppose there are people who would say that I have to make a payment of 50,000, then can I make the payment of cash of 50,000 on the same day? The answer to this is yes, if that payment is made to different people. Let's suppose you are making the payment to 10 people. So how much is the per person amount? It will be 5,000. So there is no issue. But if you're making a single amount of 50,000 payment to a single person on that same day in cash, not allowed. The 40A3, this section is, which was a little bit of modification which was made to the limit of 10,000. But this limit of 35,000, which was made as an amendment, that means you have the limit of cash payments that can be made up to 35,000 rupees on the same day, same person. This was limited to certain type of transaction, certain people, which was connected to transport. So transporters generally, if you're moving from one state to the another, maybe there is inconvenience, and so what is kept as a limit is 35,000. So you can make the payment to transporters, to a lorry, against a lorry seat. You can make the payment to maybe plying of goods and vehicles from when you're making the payment. It's fine if you make it in cash up to the limit of 35,000 on one single day to a single person. So that is allowed. So 10,000 does not apply here. Here the application of 35,000. Now there are exceptions to section 40A3, which is connected to rule 6DD. So this rule says that if you are making payment to government, there is no issue. Whatever the limit is, there is no problem. You don't have to take care of the limit. So what does the payment to the government mean? It means if it is paid in terms of property tax, if it is paid for the purpose of maybe GST payment that you're paying in cash, you're paying for any kind of maybe railway tickets or anything which is paid directly to the government treasury, there is no issue. There's no limit which applies in terms of cash transaction. Then if you're making the payment to RBI, banks or other credit institutions also, it does not apply. So if you're making payment to the bank, it's fine, no issues. If you're transacting through an authorized dealer, that means you're making a payment to an authorized money changer that has been allowed by the government, there is no problem. You can no limit as such to the cash transaction. Then if you're making payments to low paid employees also, there is no issue. Low paid employees, who are these people? That you will need to check in detail in the act, because there is a lot of discussion that can be made on this. So we are not mentioning here, but understand some low paid employees, they are allowed to be paid in cash. Then coming to salaries which are paid in rural areas. So if there is a amount to be paid to wages, like let's say to labor, has to be paid in rural areas. Now, not all rural areas you can make the payment in cash. Basically, where there is no bank available, so the labor or the wages which have to be paid to the people, these cannot be put into the bank. right? So for that purpose, cash is allowed. Then there is no network in that particular area to make a UPI payment, to make banking as a facility. Specifically, banks are not there, then you are allowed to make the payment in cash, which is now becoming rare and rare as the time is passing, because even in rural areas, a small bank at least is available. Coming to the next part, that is 269 SS, which is the section connected to loans or deposits. Now, often business wants to expand, and it may have to borrow certain amounts from relatives, friends, or any people. And so these amounts basically are taken in the format of loans or deposits. Now, these are returnable, definitely. So what you do, you take the money in either your account, or you take the money from your relative or friend and use it in the business. But if you're taking that money, receiving that money from the relative or the friend or any person as such, apart from your own normal sources like banking sources, then this loan or deposit cannot exceed a certain limit in cash. Now, what is that limit that has been specified? It is amount exceeding 20,000 rupees in the year. So per annum, you cannot take more than 20,000 rupees in loans or deposits from friends, family, relatives, any person in cash. So it's not the limit that you can take, right? It is the limit in cash that has been mentioned. So if I take a 20 lakhs of loan from my friend, from them, I take it directly into the bank. That means there is no cash transaction here from their bank to my bank. It's fine. There is no issue. Then coming to section 269 is connected to other amounts apart from loans and deposits if you are receiving. Now take an example. It could be connected with sales. So you have sold goods to a specific person, and against that sales, you are supposed to now get the money. So this is coming in the other amount section, which is relating to other receipts which are going to happen in the year. So what is the limit mentioned here? The limit that is mentioned here is of 2 lakh rupees. Now 2 lakh rupees what? Per annum, definitely. And this amount is considered on per day basis also. Okay. So if you are receiving money in 2 lakh rupees on the same day, you are more than, let's say, 2 lakh rupees on the same day, not allowed. Let's suppose the invoice value is 10 lakh rupees. Now, in such a case, people are smart and they may say, okay, 2 lakh is a limit. So what we'll do, we will split this in 5 days. So I will receive this 10 lakhs in 5 days, 2 lakhs each day, and I will get the benefit of this section 269 ST. So rule is there, fine. Section is there, which is mentioning that I have to follow this amount of 2 lakh rupees in cash, fine. Then 5 days, I take 2 lakhs per day. Okay, you may find from the first basic thing, you may say, okay, it looks okay. But the rule, I mean, the section 269 ST says that the points that you need to remember is, first thing, it is on per day basis. Not just that, it is also in terms of single transaction, right? So if I have to transact on the day, a transaction is happening, 2 lakh rupees is the limit. But at the same time, this transaction limit is also placed in terms of related to occasion or events from one person. So if I say that the entire year that one single person is to pay me more than 2 lakh rupees, right? Even if I split that entire bill in 10 or 20 times, it doesn't make a difference. So they are saying with respect to an event or occasion. So if you are supposed to receive 10 lakh rupees against a sales invoice in the year, more than 2 lakhs in that case, you cannot take in cash, no matter how much you split it. Correct? So if you are to receive money more than 2 lakh rupees, it has to be in terms of some banking transaction. Then comes the repayment of loans. So just as you have borrowed, you have taken the loans, 20,000 was the limit. If you're repaying the loan, if you're giving back the loan or the advance that you had taken from your friend, family, or any person other than in no, friend, family, or person, then in that case also you cannot make the payment exceeding 20,000 in cash. So otherwise, again, 100% penalties will apply. Donations. Now, if you are planning to donate, or if a institution or an NGO or a trust is planning to receive a donation, the receipt of a cash donation cannot exceed 2,000 rupees, right? So first important thing to remember is that it is relating to per person. So if 10 people are paying on the same day and they are paying in cash, it's fine. So 2,000 rupees, if I am collecting more than 2,000 rupees from 10 different people, if I'm saying 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, I'm collecting 10,000 from 5 different people in cash, it is okay. But 2,000 rupees more than 2000 rupees in cash from a single person, I cannot take in the form of donation. Just like there are penalties and issues connected to transactions in cash, disallowances in terms of transactions in cash above a certain limit. Similarly, there is also a benefit that the government has given in relation to the limitation of cash transactions. So if you are limiting your cash transactions, then you also get the benefit in the tax audit limit. Normally, a business has to conduct a tax audit if the turnover exceeds 1 crore rupees. However, in this case, if your cash transactions are not exceeding 5%, right? Total cash transactions in the year are not exceeding 5% of your total transactions, then you get the turnover limit extended to 10 crore rupees. So up to, let's say, suppose your turnover is, let's say, 2 crores. So 10 lakh rupees maximum of transactions can happen in cash. So this 10 lakh rupees includes your sales, your purchase, your expense, your other receipts, everything. So 5% of the entire amount of transaction that you have done in the year should not be in cash. So exceeding 5%, if they are in cash, then you have to conduct a tax audit if your turnover exceeds 1 crore. Otherwise, you get a benefit of extended turnover limit of 10 crore. Hope these details relating to cash transaction limits are clear to you and you find them useful when you're making any transactions. Find this video useful, do share it with people who may also need the information. And just in case you haven't joined the journey of Commerce Gyan, do subscribe to our channel and get more such updates which are very essential and important in terms of day-to-day commerce, law, and other such aspects. So hope to see you in the next video of Commerce Gyan. Thank you.